Welcome back, all of you beautiful broken chairs out there. This is Jay from JCP Ends on Perspective podcast, and I am once again joined by my lovely co-host Cole.
What is
No
up,
Chooch
everybody?
again,
How we do?
no Chooch again, unfortunately.
No.
Um, but we gotta this week, each week gets more and more of like this is a pretty dominant victory, and then the lowest of lows you'll ever see in your entire life for an NFL week. Um, but this episode, we're going to change it up a bit. We're actually going to start off by talking about Patrick Mahomes and stuff that he's been saying recently from the game when he played the Buffalo Bills this week. And then we're going to go into the Week 14 games. And then we are going to do our classic good, bad, and mez. And then we're going to end it off with me and Cole's MVP voting so far in the season. I know it's kind of weird to do MVP voting when we're not even in the playoffs yet, but screw it. It's our show. We can do what we want.
Exactly. No
Yeah.
nobody can tell us.
But let's start off here. We really need to talk about what Patrick Mahomes was saying after the Bills game. It's really sad to see because I get it that was a really great play and that had to be called back, but it's obvious that it was offsides. Okay, am
It
I crazy
was.
for thinking his foot was on the line?
Ray
And
Charles
yeah,
could see it.
yeah, and I get that offensive offsides is it's not called a lot, but it's a real thing. Like we know it's an actual thing that happens. And for Patrick Mahomes to not know what that is, like you even seen him being like offensive offsides, really? It sounded like he's never heard of that flag at all for some reason. I don't know what it was
Yeah.
with him, and he was really upset. But it's just it opens up a whole new thing of like the one time the refs don't help the Chiefs out win this game, and then Patrick Mahomes throws a hissy fit. It's a whole thing. Cole, what do you think of this situation?
Well, I just thought it was classless, really. I mean,
Mm.
I don't know as a player. Put yourself in Patrick Mahomes's um you know, position. And it's like you're one of the, best quarterbacks to ever, play. At least that's your trajectory right now. You're looking like incredibly good. And you got so much God given potential, so much God given talent. And, you know, now it's like you let a common penalty that was obvious uh wreck how everything goes. And I always hated when people did this. I hated, when we used to do franchises and well, pizza wasn't there for this, but when people in Madden were there, and every time they lost, oh, I think he was having a technical difficulty. I'm not too sure, but my point, and maybe some of you can relate to this, is when you win, somebody, kind of cries about it and has a hissy fit about it. And they're like, well, you wouldn't have won if it weren't for, the game giving you handouts, or you wouldn't have won because, this or that. And it's like, well, I did win. At the end of the day, I won. So I just don't understand personally how we get to that level of this is right, this is wrong. Um, I deserve, this call, or they should let him play. Well, and I kind of think it like if it's a close knick-knack thing, to me it makes sense. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, you probably shouldn't have called it, but this was blatantly obvious. Um, and I don't think it's very fair to, say that to Josh Allen about, hey, you should have, or weirdest call in my life, or strangest call in my life, whatever, however he worded it, in that post game.
Oh,
So I
shit.
just don't know. Oh, he was back. But yeah, that's my thoughts about it. I just I really don't fully understand um how that happens, and I really don't understand um, how anybody comes to this conclusion, especially at the point in the season, because it's like, this isn't the end all be all game. Kansas City's going to the playoffs, regardless on how this happens. So, I just think to make a big deal and put to Josh Allen, like, you shouldn't have done that. And I
Yeah.
know he apologized for that, so that's why I'm not as hard as I could be on this.
Yeah, that was the most distasteful thing to me. And sorry about that for lagging out for a second. But that was the most
Oh, that's okay.
distasteful thing when however many times Josh Allen had to go to Patrick Mahomes at the end of a game and be like, "Hey man, it was a tough game. GG's, good game, whatever." While he lost, and then for Patrick Mahomes to lose, and then just be like, no good game, no, tough loss, nothing like that, and just be like, man, what a play, what a flag, man, what a flag. Like that was the most
Weirdest flag in
distasteful
my
thing.
life, bro.
Yeah, weirdest. Like, what do you mean it's a weird flag? And then for even after the game to be like, oh yeah, I looked at the footage, he was barely offsides. Okay, okay, Patrick.
Like, if you're offsides by a centimeter or an inch or whatever, I mean, if it was like a knick-knack like thing, or like I was saying earlier, like if it was like a ticky, like okay, he
His
was like,
his big toe was on the blue, right?
yeah, then I could see where Mahomes would be coming from, but like he was genuinely offsides. Like if
Yes.
you look at that replay, oh my goodness, you could have put a Mack truck to where
Plus,
he
with how
was,
far his
and
head
yeah,
was, like he was also like
exactly.
leaning. His head was basically as parallel with the Bills defenders.
And also
Um,
Travis Kelsey, real quick, I just wanted to
yes,
bring this up. What an idea! Like he's done this so many times, and he is one of my favorite um players on the field. I won't say, per se as a person or any of that for, different reasons, but we'll talk. But on the field, for him to, utilize the pitch like he does, I mean, dude, that's awesome. I wish more
hmm
people did that.
especially with it almost being swiped away from
Yeah.
it almost got knocked down. Like, but yeah, it was just really distasteful to see. And then Andy Reid backing him up too. That like it's just a whole thing, and yeah, it's just really distasteful. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Now imagine if the script was flipped though. Like if Josh Allen after the 13 seconds went, well, if only the referees, did their job or something.
It
Like
was
I
only
know
up to the
technically,
players, not the refs.
I know that's
A player did decide the thing. A player did decide the end of the match by being offsides.
exactly.
And then, yeah, if Josh Allen was like that, we wouldn't hear the end of it. Oh, Josh Allen can't be like this. Oh, he can't do this. But since it's Patrick Mahomes, it's like, well, maybe the NFL should listen to this. No, no, they shouldn't.
No. Yeah, no. Yeah, let's just have our wide receiver and tight ends be like 15 yards up the field.
Let's
Let's do
have
that.
them look like defenders, and then see if let's see if the defense can't notice it. Let's have that be a strategy.
Yeah, put him in like the same jerseys and everything. Just oh wait, all of a sudden he's running.
Why is it going backward? It's
Oh
it's a
my!
it's a whole mess. It really is. Also, if you haven't seen it, Travis Kelsey at the end of the game, also there was clips of him going to the players and be like, "Hey man," everyone was like, "Oh, that was a great play, dude. Sucks that it didn't go through." I go, "Yeah." All he did, he wasn't upset. He was just, yeah, man, it's a tough loss. Good game though, good game.
And that's how it should have been.
That's how it should have been for all players on all side of the field, every
Yep.
player. And yeah, that it's really distasteful
I
to
mean,
see
to
that
say
happen.
I'm disgusted is an understatement. Cause
Yeah.
and like, okay, everybody makes mistakes. So let's start
Mhm.
here. Patrick, you made a mistake. You did own up to it. So that's why I give you so much grace to this. I mean, hey, you know what? We all do. I actually just came from confession, today. So I went because I make a lot of mistakes. So, I'm not gonna sit here and be judgmental about something like that. But I'm just gonna say, let's try and move forward. Let's be more professional. You got a massive camera on you, and you got a lot of people who, really like your conduct, really like your play, really use your forum in a better option.
A little bit too
That's
much for
that's a
some
big
people.
forward. Yeah.
A little bit, they like him a little bit too much. Um, but yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. And also, do you think it's about time Patrick Mahomes starts calling out his receivers instead of the referees?
I mean, that's such a catch-22 because with the media, right? Like if you call out your wide receivers,
All right,
firsthand.
let me say, let me rephrase it. Not call out, but like he's starting to blame everybody else except them, even though they're the obvious problem. Like that was the like that's probably the Chiefs' number one like help that
Need.
they need as a receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, number one need is is receivers. I can't not talk today.
Well,
So
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think I get what you're saying. I mean, if I'm him, you gotta go to Andy Reid and you gotta talk to him about that, I think, or you gotta hold like a players only meeting and you gotta just talk to the wideouts because there has to be something addressed, and I think it's got to be person to person. And honestly, it's
Hmm.
something that the media and you and me should have no ear in. None of us should hear it. That's got to be an eternal team conversation, in my opinion. And if they don't change after that talk, then I think yeah, you gotta talk to the front office. Hey, I need weapons. If you give me weapons, we'll do great.
Exactly.
Kind of like Aaron
Um,
Rodgers 2.0.
yeah, but everyone knew about Aaron Rodgers' frustrations.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone did. Um, but that's time to go into the Week 14 review, everybody. Starting off with Thursday Night Football, Steelers versus Patriots. Patriots winning in an upset against this Matt Canada-less Steelers team.
You had to bring it up. You had to bring it up. You
Maybe
sir.
they should have maybe they should have made Matt Canada OC, or HC. Maybe head coach would be better for Matt
Oh
Canada.
no, you might get some threats, my friend. Might get some
Um,
threats.
in all actuality, though, this team did not have um Kenny Pickett. They had Mitch Trubisky, which, if you don't know, is a horrible quarterback.
4th and 2. Yeet.
For, all right, we just need 2 yards to get the first down. All right, throw it way down the field. No, wait, Mitch, no. Dang it, it cut off. No,
But
making
on
Bailey
the
Zappi look like Tom Brady out there
I thought it
is
was Tom Brady. I actually have a friend who is a big Patriots fan. So I texted him. I go, "Hey, is that Tom Brady out there?" He goes, "You know what? Now that you mention it, I might be." And, but going into this game, it really is a lot of what I thought about Bailey Zappi. I mean, he is a really good quarterback under the right circumstances, and I mean, he broke Joe Burrow's record at Western Kentucky in a single year touchdown. So, you don't do that with not
and then
being
just go
very good.
unnoticed.
Exactly. So and then I also, kind of thought the run game was pretty good too. 22 carries, 68 yards for Zeke. He did an all right job. Juju had a pretty good day. Shockingly, it's weird to say that. 4 catches
Yeah.
for 90 yards. Um, I don't understand why Tyquan Thornton isn't getting the ball more or really being featured. I mean, the guy's fast. He could be a game breaker if they used him correctly, in my opinion. Um, and then as for the defense, I mean, it really they're showing what I thought they were going to be all year. They're really making plays. I know again this was Mitch Trubisky, it wasn't Kenny Pickett, but still the fact that they were able to play up and really give hold on there for New England to pull off this win should speak some words to the fan base and maybe even, and I'm not decided on this per se, but maybe even try and keep Bill Belichick around, and give him another year because a win like this, it is a big deal, but it also sucks. It might sound
For
weird, but
it
you know
sucks
it
for the
sucks for
Jets.
the Patriots because, now you don't get that top pick anymore. Now we're talking, maybe 5, maybe, somewhere around that instead of what could have been 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. I still think they'll probably get around the fourth thing, which with a quarterback class this deep, like the ones that's coming up,
Right.
they can get a starting. They can
That's true.
easily get a starting quarterback with around four, not around a fourth overall pick, fifth overall pick. Um, but yeah, so with this Steelers team going forward, was the biggest thing the either the defense or Mitch Trubisky being the quarterback? Was that which was the biggest problem?
Well, I think it's a little bit of a mixture of both. I mean, if you start off in this game, the defense was like getting torched, and it was like
It
my
was ugly to watch.
my New England friend, he goes, we just hit the over in 2 quarters. We scored, 14 points. Like he was ecstatic. And I'm going like, yeah, you guys, you really haven't done that. So defense to start, and then they adjusted well and they played pretty good towards the end. But of course, the big thing, Mitchell Trubisky, not good. And then why did Najee Harris and Jalen Warren only get a combined 19 carries? And you had Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. Like,
Mitch
okay,
Trubisky actually got more yards than Najee Harris
yeah. Like,
by
listen,
one.
I might not be like an offensive coordinator, but man, I'm thinking about applying. I'm thinking about going out there and being an offense coordinator because if this level of just plain questioning gets you and keeps you a job, I could be perfect at this. Like I'd actually use common sense. Like for example, if I have a guy named Mitch Trubisky behind center, I'm running the heck out of the ball. um but I don't understand modern play calling, never will. Doesn't make sense to me. So can we get this figured out, please? Thank you.
All right. Going on to the next game, though, a big upset in for Detroit. Lions 13 to the Bears 28 points. I I don't know what's going on with Detroit right now.
Sad Jacob noises.
Sad Jacob noises. You had you all right, one. The last time you guys played, you guys put up like what was it, like 14 points within 2 minutes or something like that to overcome the
Something,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know why Jared Goff is playing like when we first got him. When he's throwing at people's feet and he's not throwing where receivers are running and where they what he's throwing at where receivers are instead of where they're going to be. It's a sad day. It's such a
Yeah.
sad day for Detroit.
Well, I also want to, and I'm not by any means giving justice for Jared Goff because I don't really per se like him a lot, but I don't hate him. Um, 9 QB hits
Yeah.
will certainly not be good. And on top of that, 4 sacks, and not to mention, I don't know the stat for pressures, but I'm sure there was a lot more pressures that got to him. So, I kind of start at the offensive line here. They didn't really have a good game. And then on top of that, I mean, Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery were really the driving force of this team, who kind of was like, "All right, guys, we're gonna try and give you a chance. Get on." And when this isn't, the early 2000s anymore, or even further back than that, to where you can just run the football and win games. You kind of have to pass. And, Jared Goff, he wasn't per se horrible. I mean, 20 for 35, but, the two picks, I don't
That was
know.
really bad.
Yeah. So blame this game, in my opinion, on the O line not doing their job, and Jared Goff. I don't know if he's starting to be figured out. I mean, that's what it kind of seems like, but something needs to change, and now with Jared.
hmm my biggest thing for me is letting Chicago get to 28 points at all.
Right.
That that is a horrible thing. And this was our biggest thing last year was the Lions defense. That was their number one point, which is why when in the draft round 1, all right, we're going to get a cornerback, linebacker, any like safety, defensive guy at all, to improve that. And then we picked Jameer Gibbs. That's why everyone freaked out, was because our number one problem was the defense. And then we got a running back. Now, looking at it now, we're not upset that we chose Jameer Gibbs at all, because, he's doing amazing. So is Montgomery. Both of them got 66 yards, weirdly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but there's just a lot with this Detroit team. I still have faith in them. They're still 9-4, which is, taking for what they were last year, a huge accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like 9-4 is a huge accomplishment from any year for Detroit, I think, except before the Super Bowl era.
Well, I was gonna say as well, if you look at this defense, and what were you saying, about addressing them, they did some addressing. I mean, Jack Campbell early on, and he's been, a monster, really good. And then Brian Branch was the other one, and he's
Yeah.
played okay. I've not been fully impressed, but he has done better than I thought he would. And then everybody else has really been struggling on this defense, and I don't know. I just, Dan Campbell's a smart guy, though. I think he'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think if I was Detroit, my next move would be going for Mike Evans. And I know that's weird for me to say as a guy who's just saying that the defense is, bad. Like, the defense is their number one problem. But
Right,
getting a guy like Mike Evans along with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta and Josh Reynolds, along with receiving backs that Jameer Gibbs can be, like, it would be a monster receiving core for
right,
Detroit. But this game specifically, though, I'm worried that Detroit is going to get figured out, and that um, they're not going to be as successful as the early games were.
right.
This is obviously not the same team that beat Kansas City week 1, as we can all see.
Well, and what's interesting about this Detroit team, they're playing next against a really, on their game Denver Broncos team next. So that's going to be one heck of a matchup, and it's truly going to, these question marks, they're going to have a little bit more of a clear answer, I believe, heading into this next game.
hmm Um, yeah, like, could have said it better. hmm Going on to what I think is going to be as game of the week for this week, the Rams versus the Ravens. And I'm not saying that just because it's the Ravens game and the Ravens won. This
It
was
was
just
fun.
an overall really fun game for offensive, plays of the football. Both Matt Stafford and Lamar Jackson did incredible this game. Lamar Jackson getting 316 yards for 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, which, and then Matt Stafford on the other hand got 23 for 41, 294 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. Incredible.
Yeah.
Both sides of both quarterbacks for both teams getting amazing stats. Um, Lamar Jackson got sacked twice, which, like, did you watch this game, Cole, or no?
No, I didn't get much of a chance to watch it. I did see the highlights.
When I tell you that this might be a homer thing for me to say, but there is nothing more fun for a game of football than watching Lamar Jackson be comfortable in a game. There's
That's pretty
nothing
fair.
more entertaining for me. It's so, like, especially with a guy like Aaron Donald running at you with full force, having literally getting triple teamed with the Ravens O line, and then Lamar Jackson somehow escaping from Aaron Donald. Yeah, he's escaping from Aaron Donald, not just once. He did it a couple times. It's the pocket presence from Lamar Jackson is incredible, and we're seeing that in MVP voting and a lot of stats. But, well, there's not a lot of stats that say, like, oh, escaped pocket presence, escaped whatever, you know.
Right.
But we do see his rushing stats: 11 carries for 70 yards. It's so nice to see him comfortable on his feet. And are
Ye
we finally seeing Odell Beckham and Isaiah Likely getting the love that they deserve?
Well, yeah, I think that's a well, yes and no. I will say that because in a game like this, you think that you would have maybe two wide receivers who passed 100 yards. I know OBJ was close, but like everybody else, not really. And to me, that's kind of concerning, honestly. Like I know, be somebody out there in the comments is like, "What are you talking about? They're 10-3. Shut up, idiot." Um, but to me, that really shows, um, either you're spreading the ball too much and getting a lot of people involved, which I mean, we don't really see that many people. I mean, there's only a total of 7 that he threw to. Um, and then the other option is, is it a play calling thing that just works, or is it a good balance? And honestly, there really isn't a good answer to that. Um, it I don't know. To me it's a little concerning um personally because it's like you gotta have an offense that features these guys getting open, making plays. Their lead target and lead player who had the most receptions was Zay Flowers with 6, and he only had 60 yards. So I think come playoff time, that's going to be a little bit scarier if they're not able to spread out defenses and really put fear in the air. If you can contain Lamar right now, you can beat him, and that's kind of what comes to mind in this game. I think Odell is starting to get to where he was, and likely seems to be getting better. But I just want to bring that to the forefront because I mean that is kind of a problem.
Yeah, I see how you think that could be a problem. Yeah, I think what it is Lamar isn't used to having people getting open as well, because his number one receiver was Mark Andrews for ever since he joined the league.
Forever, yeah.
Yeah, ever since he joined. But other than Marquise Brown, but he was only in there for his 2018 year,
Yeah.
and then traded him away to the Cardinals to get Tyler Linderbaum. So I think once Lamar is more comfortable to rely on his receivers more and getting able to, like I said, just getting used to it, I think that'll change. But also, I want to point out Lamar Jackson, how he gives the ball to basically everyone. He threw it to Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill, Rashad Bateman. He threw to every receiver that he had, which I think is probably better than just throwing it to the one guy for however many yards, because then you don't know who you don't know who the defense, you're kind of messing the defense's brain up. Like, because that was the whole thing with Tyreek Hill, is that you know who Tua's going to throw to every time. So then people started to figure that team out a little bit with just knowing where to go. You know what I mean? Same thing with
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson, but that didn't stop him. Nothing stopped him. Nothing stopped
Oh,
Megatron.
Calvin was so good.
But yeah, Kyron Williams as well on the Rams rushing side. I think Kyron Williams is I think the LA Rams what's the
Found
word?
a gem.
Yeah, found a gem, and especially with a 5th round pick like that.
Right.
And he's killing it up in Rams territory, getting 115 yards for what was it, 25 carries? Yeah, 25 carries.
Yeah, 24, I thought. Oh, 25. Okay.
Yeah. So Kyron Williams is looking great. Did the Rams find their number one running back for a really long time?
I think they did. And again, this just, goes to show again the resilience of Sean McVay. And, he can be put in a terrible situation, which, I mean, he kind of was after, the ring chasing days and he had so many leave and you kind of had that regress. But you know, it's to me it's just one of those things. Like Hiron Williams, he looks like that guy. He's doing a really good job of showing his ability, and I really love and attribute a lot of that to Sean McVay because, ultimately he has these great designs, and I think those two hit each other on such a level that allows for his proximity. Wow, productivity. That's the word I'm looking for. There we go. So yeah, no, he's definitely the guy. And it's funny too, because everybody, including myself, thought you're trading Cam Akers, you're nuts for a sixth. But now they got their guy, so
Yeah. Going on to the next game though, Falcons versus Bucks. I think with this game, it's a really confusing thing to see Baker Mayfield's stats. 14 out of for 29, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns with 144 yards is weird for me to
it
see.
is.
Mike Evans got 1 reception out of the 6 targets he got for 8 yards.
And they still won. I
They
could not
still
believe
won.
that. But
They
I mean, it is the
still won.
Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons do find a way to choke. 28-3.
Oh no.
Desmond Ritter looked really good out there, but they still lost. 26 for 40 for 347 yards. 1
Wait,
touchdown, 1
do you
interception.
hear that? Wait, I hear it in the distance. Arthur Smith actually used his talent. Oh my goodness. I could not believe it. Kyle Pitts actually had more than 50 yards. Drake London had over 100 yards.
172 yards for
Oh
Drake
my
London.
goodness. Where was this buddy? And you still lost. I mean, go figure. But hey, you used your talent for the first time in I don't even know, like week 6 maybe?
Ever
You
since he
fine.
had that job.
It feels like it. Oh, I'm so proud. I mean, hey Arthur, do this more,
But
please.
win.
Oh yeah,
That's a big thing.
and if it's not you, Arthur, again, I don't,
I'm sorry.
okay, maybe it's not, but it kind of seems like it's you or, somebody else on the staff, whoever is on the staff who's telling them, "Hey, you can't have this many more yards." Stop. Please, stop it.
Obviously, the biggest thing that won this game for Tampa Bay, though, was Rashad White and Chase Edmonds. Rashad White getting 25 carries for 102 yards, and then Chase Edmonds getting 8 carries for 40. No touchdowns. They both went to Baker Mayfield. This game though was surprising to see the Falcons lose so closely. Like I thought if they were going to lose this game, it wouldn't be that close. You know, maybe be a couple touchdowns away, but no, they were only one score away from winning this game.
Yeah, no, you're not kidding. Like wow, like for teams that are usually underachieving and awful, like this was a good game.
Yeah, yeah. And it's sad to see the, the NFC South standings.
Yeah, the one time the Falcons actually use their talent, they lose. I'm kind of sad. Like,
The NFC South has 3 teams 6-7.
oh,
3. And Tampa Bay is technically in first place, but they're all technically they're all tied for first place.
define technically.
Define tied. 'Cause, this is the most pitiful division in football.
Just ugly.
It's so bad. Going on to the next game though, Colts versus Bengals. Is this a shock or a no-brainer, Cole?
I'm a little in the middle because at the same time I'm kind of like, yeah, the talent's there, they're good, and then at the same time I'm also like, oh my goodness, Jake Browning, hi, like you sir are doing amazing. Like
Better than
I
Joe
don't.
Burrow.
Let's not get crazy.
This season.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of easy when somebody's out, but yeah, anyways, Jake Browning, though, great game. Love what he's doing. Joe Mixon had a pretty good game. Jamar Chase, man, what the heck was the idea there? Like, he is your best wideout. He is a top receiver in the league, and you're like, oh, we'll only, give him 3 receptions for 29 yards. Like, excuse me? Can I get a McDouble? Like, I didn't get that. And as for the Colts, I mean, just that I don't want to talk to you guys. Like, why does your running backs only add up if you add up their running backs here? 41 yards. 41. You let Gardner Minshew in there for 39 passing attempts to literally just die. He got sacked 3 times. Like, you know how many times Jake Browning was sacked? 0. I mean,
0.
Come on, Colts. Just every time I want to like you, you do something like this, and then you make me upset, and it's the whole thing. I'm not happy.
I will say this: the Colts are doing a lot better than what I thought they would with losing Anthony Richardson.
True.
So, but this is a big differential between this game. Jake Browning is killing it. I trade Joe Burrow if I'm being honest. No, I'm joking.
I mean, I'd take him with the Raiders. Send him down.
I'll give a round 5 pick.
Heck yes, I would. Dude, that's the biggest heist of the century. But yeah, no, Bengals, they're fine. I mean, honestly, they're waving green flags. They're going, hey, we got a shot at this thing, so don't
still last in the division.
It is a dang good division. I mean,
it is honestly, the best division.
Yeah,
in football.
Yeah.
They're tied with Pittsburgh with 7-6.
I did not see that coming at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, no, especially with Burrow being out. I thought they'd be dead last with 15 losses and everyone injured.
Right.
Overall, this game was just pretty entertaining all around. Surprising to see Jake Browning doing so well. Going on to the next game, though, we got the Jags versus the Browns. You got Joe Flacco starting for the Browns today. Killed the Jaguars. Absolutely slaughtered them.
I need to say something real quick.
Joe Flacco is the most elite quarterback.
Bring it in.
Sorry.
Jacksonville. How in the heck did you make Joe Flacco look like the best quarterback in the NFL? This is unexcusable. This is I I'm mad. I just don't like what. Okay, look, Joe, he was all right. All right, with the Ravens, he was all right. He wasn't anything special. He was okay. And here, you made him look like he's Tom Brady. Like, how in the heck
He's better
did
than
you
Tom
do that?
Brady.
Homer. But I'm blown away, guys. Like Jacksonville, I thought you were a deep playoff team, and you're doing this to Cleveland without Nick Chubb or Deshaun Watson. How?
Deshaun Watson was kind of terrible even when he was playing anyway this season.
Okay, but that's not the point. That's no, Jags. I expected more from you. You made Trevor Lawrence throw 50 times. 50. You are gonna kill this man. You're gonna kill him.
Especially he was injured a couple weeks ago.
Oh my
His
goodness.
foot was like getting shredded. Plus
Plus,
getting sacked 4 times. He got sacked 4 times. His ankle is about to break off of his foot.
you have Travis Etienne. You have a running game, and you use 50 passes. Okay, listen. If this was Washington, well, no, I can't even say Washington. They got a running game too. Okay, if this
Cardinals.
I mean, James Conner's had a massive resurgence, so I can't say that. If
Texans.
this,
No, Panthers.
no, you know what? Yeah. If this was the Panthers and like you're just praying that Bryce Young doesn't die but somehow can like survive with like not a lot of help, but yeah, okay. That would make sense. But you have a run game. You have an O line. You have things. And you don't use them. You don't. You don't. Okay, just I'm fed up with this team. How did you do this? Why did you do this? And now you're making the Browns look better than they are. Thanks.
I mean, Joe Flacco is an elite quarterback.
No.
He is. Yes, he
No.
is. He has a better playoff win percentage than Eli Manning. No, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, the better one.
Okay, listen. We can talk statistics all day, but here's a statistic. Peyton Manning was allowed to run the whole team pretty much. I mean, if they kind of like feared him. They kind of just gave him the team. They were kind of like, here you go. I mean, that's what I remember from it. That's what it seemed like. And with the Ravens, you actually had a thing, like a coach. And you still do. So don't come after me with all this crap about, oh, well, back in the 1980s, he actually had a pretty good. He didn't, okay? He was okay. He was subpar. He's probably one of the most middest quarterbacks to ever win a Super Bowl, and he got carried by a great defense. I don't want to hear it.
Joe Flacco is the elite, most elite quarterback in the league, better than Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes combined. Let's get out of the huddle. Nope,
Yes.
not like that. Joe Flacco is elite, and we're starting to see it now. And it's so beautiful to see Joe Flacco back as well as a Ravens fan. See him back with a team that will actually like nurture him and care for him.
What? What?
Also,
Are we talking about
hold
football?
on.
Are we talking the Discovery Channel?
I'm trying to talk football.
Okay.
You're the one.
Okay, I'm just saying here, nurture. What?
Joe Flacco also, I think, is starting to point out the really good receiving team in Cleveland right now. You got David Njoku, Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper. Jerome Ford is not terrible as well. I think Joe Flacco made this game like on point with the receiving core. David Njoku getting 6 receptions for 91 yards. Amari Cooper 7 receptions for 77. David Bell got 1 reception for 1 touchdown and 41 yards. Like, this game was, I don't know how Jacksonville Bell got 27. If I'm being honest, I don't know how Trevor Lawrence got 3 touchdowns. I'm surprised his arm didn't shatter from throwing the ball 50 times and getting
Right?
sacked 4 times. Hold on. I want to look at what was the most passing attempts in an NFL game.
It's gotta be like very up there.
In an NFL game. Drew Bledsoe in 1994, 70 attempts.
What?
45 out of 70 passes for
What
426
the
yards and 3
heck?
touchdowns. It went to overtime. It went to overtime.
Wow.
Yeah, in a game with the New England Patriots against the Vikings. Wow. Shout out to Drew Bledsoe.
Shout
yeah.
out to the guy that got replaced by Tom Brady. No, that's me.
That is really mean. I mean, Joe Flacco is elite. We've seen it last year with the Jets too. Very, very elite. We've seen it the whole time. Going on to the next game though, before Cole can say anything bad about Joe Flacco. Panthers versus the Saints.
Do we really?
I
do
don't
we have
want
to talk about this?
I don't want to, but we're imaginarily contracted, negotiable to this
Okay, you're
game.
right. You're right. You're right.
Even
Okay.
though there's nothing really to say other than the Panthers suck.
Moral of the story: Bryce Young is trying to survive on an island with DJ Chark, Jonathan Mingo, Chuba Hubbard, and that's about it. I mean, there really isn't anybody else. Oh, Derek Brown. And meanwhile, they they die. They get destroyed.
I would say more than this is worse than death. I don't even know how they beat the Texans. That's their one win was against the Texans.
Right. Yeah. And the worst part is you don't even get your pick. The Bears have it, and they're laughing to the bank.
Oh, the Bears are going to get the number 1 overall pick.
Y'all are poverty. I'm sorry. I'm just congrats,
funny?
Saints. Yeah.
The Bears will get the number 1 overall pick, and then they'll probably have the number 2 or 3. So they're going to get Caleb Williams, and then maybe freaking Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I was thinking probably Marvin Harrison and an O lineman, but for some reason they want to replace Fields. I don't quite get it. I mean, this would be the draft to do it, but he's pretty good. But back to this game, I guess congrats, Derek Carr and company. I mean, you really didn't play that well. No offense.
No.
Alvin Kamara really didn't do much. Jamal Williams kind of had a lackluster day. Your leading receiver was A.T. Perry with 1 catch and 44 yards. I mean, how is this team?
How is that
this
possible?
Saints team? Yeah, they got 6 wins, and I don't know how they have 6 wins. I'm genuinely trying to put it together because they're not very
let alone
good.
that. How did they get 28 points when their leading receiver had 1 catch for 44 yards?
I think they had a kick return for 6, I want to say, or something like. Or no,
I don't think
guess
any of
not.
that matters. I don't think any of that matters. Oh, DeMarco Jackson got a touchdown. If that says anything else about this game, this is just a dumpster fire. There are worse games than this, though, in this week.
Shockingly, he's not wrong.
Going on to the game before we talk about the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL season this far, Texans versus the Jets. In this game, we got to see CJ Stroud go down with a nasty concussion. He hit the back of his head when he got sacked really hard on the floor. And does that hurt his MVP voting, do you think?
Well, I mean, he's not winning the MVP. There's no way. I think you meant Rookie of the Year.
Well, He can win. I think he deserves to be talked about.
for the MVP.
Maybe.
You're on drugs. Stay
Does
off
this hurt?
drugs.
Does this hurt the rookie of the year voting then?
I don't think so. I mean, to me, it should. I think, well,
You-
not necessarily the injury, but just in general, like the performance wasn't that great. And I know, like, technically he missed out on a few plays, but I mean, Davis Mills, only had five. Um, I think Puka Nakua, again, I've said this a few times, should be, rookie of the year, but that's not gonna happen. So no, I don't think this affects CJ Stroud at all.
Okay. Going on to this game though, they were 0-0 at halftime. I want to point out they both teams scoreless at halftime
You let the Jets score 30 and a
with two
half.
quarters. 2 quarters.
And Zach Wilson did most of it.
Yeah. Brees Hall, Brees Hall and Randall Cobb got the touchdowns from Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, 301 yards for 27 through 36 and 2 touchdowns. Does he
Do you
choose
remember
whether to be
last
good or
week?
not? Does he choose whether to be good or not for games?
I swear he must. He must have like a flip of switch type deal that we just don't know about. But also, I want to bring this up because I eat my crow when I'm wrong. Remember last week when I said about how bad Zach Wilson was, and you jokingly said, "Watch him be great next week." Well, he did.
Yeah, dude, I feel like if I keep on like making jokes about like Zach Wilson, I'm like, dude, imagine if Zach Wilson went to the Super Bowl.
Oh no! Now he's gonna win it.
No, dang it.
Uh,
This man, I'm just so surprised though, and I feel really bad for CJ Stroud. It sucks that he went down with an injury, especially. Did you see the hit?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was
It
like
was that was brutal.
as soon as I seen it, and then like you just hear it in the back of his. Oh man, it was bad. It looked really bad. Hopefully he gets up and running. Maybe if the Texans make the playoffs, I hope he's going to be able to play in them. Do you?
Right.
Because yeah, a concussion can heal in about a month, right? A month or month and a half.
Sometimes even less, depending on how fast they rush
How
them
severe it
along.
was, yeah.
Well, that too.
Can I point out how sad Jets fans are? This was at MetLife Stadium. Got 88% of their crowds. So hey, they should have showed up for this game, man. They would have been having such a fun time.
They phoned it in a long time ago.
Yeah, they put down the phone book. They grabbed the phone book. All right, let's call every one of our fans. Tell them to not come. Let's
Yeah, they just ignore the games.
yeah. What I think from this game though, it's it's so confusing with Zach Wilson because one day he's like, this is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and then the next week he's putting up 30 points against the Texans in 2 quarters. So take it how you will. It's so hard to judge Zach Wilson.
See, and that's what I wanted to ask too. Is it the Texans defense that was bad here, or was it Zach Wilson being that good? And I honestly don't know.
I have no idea. I think it was man. It's weird to see Will Anderson Jr., the best guy on that defense, arguably for the Texans,
Right.
get no nothing for total tackles, sacks, tackles for loss, but got 2 quarterback hits. So I think it could be the coaching with the defense that let this up because obviously letting your opponent get 0 at half, that's
Pretty
pretty
good.
good. Yeah, but then not keeping that pressure up for the rest of the game. I think it could lead that could be the possible answer, or Zach Wilson just saw a pretty hot mom in the stand. Like, I gotta ball out right now. walking. He
Oh
was walking
god.
like at halftime. He's walking in the tunnel at right before halftime, and he just looks and stands. Sees one hot mom with wrinkles on her mouth. He got lit up. He went Super Saiyan.
Bro, what? Oh no.
He's like, I can imagine that's Anna Kelsey. Yeah, just balled out. Went Super Saiyan blue or Super Saiyan green.
With Super Saiyan Blue. He invented a new Super Saiyan. Now he's green.
Yeah, Super Saiyan green because it's the
They're
jet.
gonna steal that. We gotta trademark it.
I'm trying to prolong this game because I really don't want to talk about the next game though. But we are imaginarily, contractually eligible to. I mean, I know I'm using the wrong vocabulary,
Just
but
get to it. Just do it.
we got to talk about the Raiders versus Vikings. The Josh Dobbs era is over in Minnesota as he has been benched.
From Nick Mullins. Where did the years go, man? Like Josh Dobbs came in, he had like the most greatest 4 week span of all time, and now he's the worst quarterback to ever touch the field. Wow.
But can I mention he got sacked 5 times?
Yep.
Like it, and plus 11 QB hits.
Yeah.
Not counting the 5 sacks. He was getting murdered out there.
But nobody looks
dying.
at that. We only look at the points. Nobody cares about how many times you get killed. You just got to score.
That's the biggest problem. Apparently, I don't. Is Devontae Adams sad again? Can we ever see him smile again like he did that one couple weeks?
Is this like? I swear the Raiders are defined by Devontae Adams' emotions. Like, if he's happy, it's the greatest team ever. If he's sad, the team sucks. If he's in between, the team's okay. Like, just call them the Devontae Adams Raiders, because like that. That's
This
all.
is game of the year.
Oh, game of the year. Yes. Yes.
If they don't make a joke about this game at like the award show or whatever where they put the MVP on, I'm gonna be sad because they did some jokes last year. They were like angriest runs or whatever, like that.
Can we just mention AJ Cole had 433 yards on 8 punts? I mean, hey, that's good, man.
That's a record.
Yeah. And then Ryan Wright, the other punter,
MVP of this game is AJ Cole.
Yeah. Greg Joseph actually had 1 punt for 14 yards, but Ryan Wright is what we care about here. 8 punts, 383 yards. I mean, just punters matter, man.
I want to kill myself.
Who would have thought that we would be on a podcast? Like, imagine growing up and thinking, like, "Oh, what do you want to be in life?"
I want to be.
I'm gonna be on a podcast talking about the worst game to ever exist.
Like for the Raiders to not even get a field goal
in 60 minutes on the pros.
Like not even anywhere close. You got Aiden O'Connell getting sacked 4 times, getting hit for 5 times. The same amount of times. Well, no. Josh Dobbs got murdered.
Josh Dobbs was, yeah.
But it's like I don't know. I just want. We're moving on. Seahawks versus 49ers. Go. I can't talk about this game anymore.
Right. So about this game here,
there are touchdowns.
Yeah, there was actually this thing called points. I don't know if you knew it. Drew Lock played pretty well as well. I mean, 22 for
Mhm.
31, 2 TDs. The 2 interceptions kind of hurt a little bit. DK Metcalf continuing to look really good. He had a touchdown and then he threw a punch because why not?
Because he's
Or,
DK
or
Metcalf.
yeah, he got ejected. So that wasn't good. And then
Mhm.
as for the Niners, of course. Oh, Brock Purdy threw a pick. So Brock Purdy's the just
Brock
assistant
Purdy,
quarterback.
Debo Samuel's the one holding that up.
Yep,
You
just
know, never mind
terrible.
that. You had two receivers got 100 yards, and then George Kittle getting 76.
368 yards, with 145 rushing, but yeah, no, he's just a system guy. System, that's all he is.
Yeah, each 19 receptions is total for everybody. Just yeah, system quarterback for Brock Purdy. System quarterback of the year goes to Brock Purdy.
Yep, not even close.
Stupid.
Oh, it's
Um,
brutal.
it's brutal to hear, especially when you like an ESPN like analyst that you like, and then he starts saying nonsense.
Yeah, and then you click the channel because you can't take it anymore.
I just yeah, we gotta stop. We've talked about it enough. I don't think we'll say it here. We've talked about it enough for like the whole thing. This is
Yeah,
probably his career day, I say though.
I think last week, but this is pretty close.
Like Debo Samuel, 149 yards with 7 receptions, and then Brandon Ayuk, 126 for 6, and then George Kittle for 76 yards with 3 receptions. Incredible, incredible.
And how about that defense, man? 4
Yeah,
sacks.
yeah.
Beautiful. And then on top of that,
The
getting
five
2
QB
in
hits.
yeah, 5 QB hits too. And then also, I mean, the Seahawks defense didn't play terrible. I mean, obviously, not as great as you wanted, but they had some good plays too.
Hmm. Christian McCaffrey,
Ooh,
16 carries, 145 yards.
gnarly.
Not an
Like,
MVP though.
no, definitely not.
Not an
It's
MVP. He's a
it's
horrible player.
insert quarterback here.
Yeah. Um. Overall, there's a lot to be desired from the Seahawks team. Like there's a lot of potential, and I think what's really holding them back is a quarterback. I know Drew Lock did not do terrible. He didn't do bad, but I don't see him as a franchise guy. Geno
Agreed.
Smith is like 900 years old. Played with Tom Brady in his freshman year at high school.
Michigan. Oh, in high school. You're going back
Even
further.
worse. That's like 1628.
Yeah. It's close. It's close.
Close. But yeah, as you see, 49ers best team in the NFL on paper. I say on paper because I don't like saying best team in the NFL because they could
Fall off a cliff.
not say that, not that, but they could lose to the Bears.
True.
Like anybody can lose in this game. Like it happens every week. We just seen the Pittsburgh Steelers lose to the Patriots. It happens all the time. Injuries happen.
How did that happen?
We're off that game. Cole, breathe.
I
It's
know, I
okay.
know. I just
It's okay. It's okay, Cole. It's okay. But yeah, a really entertaining game so far. I'm so happy to see touchdowns scored from the previous game. Going on to the next game though, the game that started the Kansas City crybaby.
KCC.
KCC, Kansas City crybaby. Oh, is it KCCB or
Look, don't ask me, okay? Just pick one. We're rolling with it. I don't want this to get into an hour conversation, okay? I agree.
right? Both quarterbacks doing really good, except one had pride. Uh, pretty
Weirdest call I've
similar.
ever seen.
We're weirdest call I've ever seen, man.
Kermit the Frog.
Weirdest call I've ever seen, man. But pretty similar. Josh Allen getting 23 for 42, 233 attempts. Oh no, 233 yards. Sorry,
I
not
was
attempts.
gonna say, what game were you watching?
One touchdown, one interception for Josh Allen, and then Patrick Mahomes 25 for 43 with 271 yards, and then one touchdown, one interception.
Hey, I'm looking at the stat sheet here, and it doesn't say Kadarius Toney with game-losing penalty. I'm kind of
No,
sad.
it says Kadarius Toney for 3 receptions for 25 yards and 4 targets.
Yeah, it doesn't say game-losing penalty on here. What? Why not?
It wasn't a penalty. Offensive offsides doesn't exist.
No, not
Yeah,
not in Kansas City.
because Patrick Mahomes said so. They're gonna rule it. Yeah.
But again, real quick, this is something that we have talked about a lot on this channel. Like rule definition, and this is, one of those to where every player in the league should know. If your player lines up off sides before the play is snapped, it's a penalty.
Mm-hmm. Even then, all right. I know people are saying that. I know we're kind of going back to the Patrick Mahomes, right? But you are Kadarius Toney. You are a professional NFL wide receiver. If you can't see that, if you can't see your foot and then look to your center and be like, oh, plus
I
it
gotta
has
back
lines.
up.
The football field has lines. It's a gridiron. Like it's literally like, oh, I'm on the same line as the football. Let me back up a bit. You don't need the ref to be like, oh, I'm offsides. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, but I mean, in this game, this was your, well, not your typical. There wasn't much offense really. I mean, 20 and 17 with these two teams. I thought there'd be
Yeah, I
more,
thought
but
it'd be in the 30s, 40s.
yeah. But ultimately, the Bills finally winning an Arrowhead. The thing is, can they
Burrow
do
head,
it when it matters?
Allen
Yeah.
head.
Can they do it when it matters? I mean, that's the big question. That sure you can do it when the camera's a little bit bright, but can you do it when it's fully time, when it everything counts? That's what's coming to fruition.
I'm hoping they do. I'm hoping they do. I like the Bills over the Chiefs. It's so what's confusing them, what's like weird to me though, is that we've been talking about the Bills' problems. We've seen the Bills' problems up close this
Right,
whole season. We've seen team chemistry being out of whack. Just a horrible thing. Even this game, Stephon Diggs only got 24 yards for 4 receptions, got 11 targets though.
right.
So but this team is only one win and one loss down from tying with the Chiefs. So are they as bad as they are sort of coming off of, would you say?
Well, I'd say talent-wise, no. I think they have some really good talent that can compete at the top level. I mean, maybe missing a wide receiver, like aside from Stephon Diggs, but aside from that, I mean, yeah, they're pretty good across the board. Um, I think team mentality wise is where they really, that holds them back. Because, and it's still showing. I mean, again, take away the penalty, they lose this game. So,
Yeah.
I think it's just gotta be something like Sean McDermott or whoever in Buffalo's got to talk to these guys and be like, look, we have the talent to do something. We just beat one of the best teams, in the NFL. We have been shown this. And, it's either one of two options. Either what we buy in fully and we play as a team like we should, or we're just going to continue to be our own worst enemies and we're not going to do anything. You choose. And I think, something like that could get this team in the direction that they need to go.
hmm Another thing that you kind of remind me of leaders kind of, mentality of that team. I don't see much of I know that, they're obviously, like, an offensive leader, like, obviously
Right,
Josh Allen is that, like, that's the general of this offense. But there's not, like, a leader for this team. There's not, like, Ray Lewis was the best leader for a team of all time. You see so many games with him where and then players interviews are like, yeah, man, he gave this speech before we went in the game where I wanted to run through a wall.
right,
So I'm not saying everyone should be like Ray Lewis,
right.
but to not have a guy even trying to be like that. I don't watch many Buffalo games. I don't watch like mic'd up with Buffalo Bills games, but I'm not seeing anybody like that. So I think what I would try and have is maybe getting someone like Josh Allen to bring that energy to the table of like, we are a team, we can do this. We believe in ourselves, we have the capability. Those game talks that Ray Lewis, everyone knows the Ray Lewis talks before games, or
Yeah, no,
maybe
that's a good
anybody on
point.
the team. Really, it could be freaking Tim Settle.
Right. I mean, genuinely though, hey, that's the thing that people don't understand about leadership because they always go, it's got to come from your star guy. No, it doesn't.
No,
It has to come from somebody who asserts himself, who believes in the team, who is a team first captain that gets them guys ready, gets them fired up, is liked by a majority of the locker room. I'm not saying you have to be buddy buddy, but I'm saying, hey, when he's in the room, you listen. When he's in the room, he demands respect. And like you're saying, I don't see that. I think Buffalo is they kind of remind me of like just a freestanding group that it's like, hey, we're gonna just go out there and we're
we
just gonna
play
play and we don't
we
have an
play football.
identity. Yeah, we play football.
Like NFL, college, football.
Yeah. No specific, just football.
The guy that I think could do that though, like if I had to choose a guy
Mhm.
that I really think believes in this team is maybe Von Miller. I think Von Miller really believes in this team, and I know that he can. I know that he's a great player. I know that he's had some charges against him in I think the past month, but I think this team, you know, Von Miller could be a guy that could bring this team together and give that sort of inspiration for a
So
captain.
here's my question for you, and I kind of said this jokingly on Facebook to Snyder. If y'all don't know Snyder, he's a huge Bills fan, so I like giving him shit. I'm like, hey, you guys should have drafted Tua instead of Josh Allen, things like that. Um, and we got it's a fun thing, but genuinely, there was a thing about it was showing Drake May from North Carolina and all the things that he did, and Patrick put it out there.
Something happened with Cole. I will fill it in though. Yeah, that is what I think. With the main problem with the Bills, though, is that they don't have that leader in them. I'm saying Ray Lewis a lot. That's the biggest guy I think that comes to mind when I talk about in football team leaders is Ray Lewis. But it could even be a guy like James Cook to just will this team together and but have them believe in themselves and be like a hype man for this team and really put motivation in this team's feet. Um, oh, cold bag.
All right.
Cole, you dipped out on me.
Yeah, my setup just like died. But anyways,
You're
at,
talking to Snyder.
right. So Patrick put out a thing on Facebook to where he said had a picture and it was showing like things that Drake May did quarterback of North Carolina, if you didn't know. And he's heading to the draft, and like he's a really good quarterback, and it was just saying things like that. And I jokingly said to Snyder, I was like, yeah, you should get rid of that bum Josh Allen, get him, and he had a good laugh at it. So, but I know I was joking then, but yeah, I'm asking you, Jacob, if you're the Bills, do you think about, maybe a Drake May, maybe a Jaden Daniels, maybe a Michael Penix, like somebody coming up in the draft as your quarterback, as your leader, who can step into that role, change the culture, and really make this team what it could be?
Okay. So, um, I know this is gonna sound like a homer thing to say. I really think so. I'm not gonna say Josh Allen is gonna be replaced or anything like that. I think there are some problems with Josh Allen, not as a player. Like I think he's a monster. I know he has a high interception rate. How many interceptions does he have this season? He has 14 interceptions, but he also has 25 touchdowns. That's the main thing with Josh Allen is that he throws interceptions, but he also throws like 50 touchdowns a year
Right.
and a lot of yards. He has 3,447 yards. So what I would do is that in this draft class, it depends on if this guy is going in the draft or not because we don't know yet.
Who?
The Bills are probably going to get like a mid first round pick, right?
Right.
Around that. If he's in this draft, I think that's where he's going. I think I would draft JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I think he's coming up because this is senior year.
This is a junior year.
I thought it was a senior year.
No, he's a junior.
He's still got another year left. Come on, man. He seems like he's been there forever.
Oh no. Double checking. Yeah, he's a junior. So if he does go into the draft, which he might, I would get him, and I would keep Josh Allen around and see how this team goes on. If they're still doing what they're doing when they should be, easily, easily get a really good winning record, but they're still at 7-6. I would look to have JJ McCarthy be my first. Not only do I think he's a pretty good fit because you got a somewhat of Michigan team here. You got James Cook, a really good running back. You have a really good tight end.
Cook was Georgia, bud.
No, I'm saying like, hold on. No, I didn't mean it like this is a Michigan. Like I meant this team reflects how Michigan is right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
This
James Cook was a dog, not
this
a.
isn't a team full of Michigan players. No, I'm saying like you got James Cook, a really good running back. That's kind of like Blake Corum. And then you got Dawson Knox, a really good tight end. Michigan has a bunch of really good tight ends. And then you got Stephon Diggs. And, I think this team would be really good for JJ McCarthy to go to. But I would keep him behind Josh Allen for maybe a year or two and then just have him behind Josh Allen, if he ever gets injured or if he ever decides to leave, if, Josh Allen either decides wants to get traded or just quits or gets released, So that's where I see it. I'm not looking for a starter, and I definitely wouldn't get a quarterback for this team. That's not where their biggest issue lies.
Jim Harbaugh to the Bills.
Jim Harbaugh to the Bills. I wouldn't mind that, actually.
That would be something.
I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, that's where I stand with it.
I like
if
that.
if you have a round 3 pick and you don't really have any issue of holes to fill, get a quarterback that has been good in college. And because like you said, JJ McCarthy, he is a team like leader. That was his number one thing going into the season and for Michigan was encouraging players when they do good things. He has a thing that he does whenever a player does a good thing where he does this and then puts it on the top of his head as like a crown.
Right.
And you can tell Jaden McCarthy is such a team player and like loves the team around him and will do what it takes to get that team motivated and win.
And also, too, to add to JJ McCarthy, I mean, nobody really took him serious when he said, "Hey, we're going to be back here next year." Well, year
He's
flips.
back.
We're here. We got Michigan,
Number one too.
Alabama, Washington, Texas.
Right. And
Should be Florida
uh,
State, but again, another time.
yeah. Plus being the number one in college football. That's I think is that bigger than that's even bigger than just being in the college playoffs, I think. Being number one out
Uh,
of everyone.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of politicking with rankings during the AP Top 25, but this was one of the few times where it was pretty cut and dry, and you thought they couldn't screw it up, but they still found a way to mess it up. Again, I'm not talking about it anymore, but yeah.
Right. This is an NFL show, so we
I
gotta
know.
continue.
Yeah, we
We
got to
gotta
get back.
continue. Overall, pretty fun game. Wham, wham, wham. Patrick Mahomes, you're a crybaby.
Kermit the
Going on to
Frog.
the next game though, Chargers. Justin Herbert's sadly suffered an injury. It was his finger got fractured, I believe, and he will miss the remainder of the season. So Chargers are done for and should relocate again.
I don't. I always say the same thing. I feel like when I come on and talk about the Chargers. So we're not gonna say the same thing this show. We're gonna change it up a little bit. We're not gonna talk about that guy who's not very great in that position that he's at, or other coaches who are not very good in their position of where they're at with this talent. We've said
Yes.
enough. So, let's talk about the game. Russell Wilson, I mean, he's really returning back to
Mm,
how he was. I like it.
I do
Javonte
too.
Williams had a pretty solid day. Uh, Passing wise, it was all right. I mean, got a lot more people involved. So, again, not quite the ideal of what you want in a quarterback wide receiver relationship, but it was okay. And then the defense, I mean, to hold this offense to 7 points, I mean, obviously, kind of
Justin Herbert
Herbertless.
going down.
Yeah. um, Pretty good still. I mean, hey, you got to beat the team that's in front of you in there, and that's what they did. So, they're playing really good football, and they're looking pretty good. As for the Chargers, I uh, I'm
Relocate.
trying to be nice, okay? I mean, your defense is still good. Your talent's still there. There's a piece missing. I'll let you figure out what that piece is, in my opinion. I've only said it a few times. If you want to go back to the other shows, hint, hint, wink, wink, go ahead.
A few is a stretch, Cole. But overall, my opinion of this game, Broncos are, they're number two when they were they were worse than the Raiders a couple seasons. Wow, I'm
Dang,
smart.
bro.
Earlier in the season, and them being 7-6, close to surpassing Kansas City. If
Yeah.
if that'd be insane if they went up above Kansas City, being number one for AFC West. In total, though, there's a lot with this Chargers team, and especially I think the biggest problem, other than their head coach and receivers don't not knowing how to catch a ball, is their money. Like they have all their stars having to be paid this offseason, and they are broke. They're already in the
Oof.
negatives. If you haven't checked that, they are literally in the negatives. I think it's negative 20 million around that.
Oh.
Yeah. And with all this slack that they're receiving from their hometown too, it also just sucks that they have to share a stadium with the Rams. That's another huge thing because that's a lot of the money that goes to the team. And having to split that with the Rams is kind of sucky.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of not good.
Yeah,
Not good.
no. I do wanna fact check. Um Chargers cap.
I cannot wait to talk about the next game.
I can
Oh, I'm in shock.
Um, All right, they're not in the negatives right now, but they will definitely be in the negatives. They have $8 million, and they need to pay Justin Herbert. They need to pay, I think, Keenan Allen as well. They need to pay Austin Eckler, and I think they need to pay Joey Bosa as well.
Just give $1 million to each of them. Hope they accept.
No. No. No, 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 no. That's never gonna work. You see Brandon Staley. All right. Joey. Nice to see you here. So we're gonna work on your contract. $2 million.
That's all.
No
He's
years, no years, no guaranteed, no $2 million.
They're like IOUs. They're just as good as money.
It's gonna be a bad couple years for the Chargers. I see.
Yeah.
I wasn't even joking when I was saying relocate. I think the next move for the Chargers is relocating, even though they already relocated once when San Diego to LA. Go to Mexico.
Honestly, just blow up the franchise.
New Mexico Chargers.
I can dig it.
Georgia Chargers. No, I don't.
They already got Atlanta. They need another depressing team.
Alabama Chargers.
I mean, hey, they get support. Those people go crazy.
But yeah, that's where my thoughts are for the Chargers right now is to relocate.
Alabama or Mexico?
I think Mexico would probably be good. New Mexico could use a cool
or England.
Team. Moving on to the next. I'm not going to. Going to the next one. All right, hold on. I want to say that we're not going to move a team to England. We're not going to take away that fan base in America. We're going to make a team in England if we're going to do that. We're not going to move a team.
So moving to Mexico is okay, but moving to Europe.
At least it's the same country.
What?
I'm New Mexico State.
Oh, you're saying New Mexico. I thought you meant Mexico.
Not Mexico City, no.
Okay.
That would kind of work. Mexico City Chargers.
That'd be interesting.
That would be kind of cool. Going to next game though, Eagles versus Cowboys. Eagles, we like you. Why are you doing this to us, Eagles?
So the Cowboys actually beat a team.
Yeah, they beat a team with a winning record, not just like a 9-8 one either. They are like 10-2. They were 10-2. Now they're 10-3.
Okay, yeah, I kind of have a problem with this. You see, I like my Cowboys the way that they are, right? Like when they don't beat good teams, they lose big games. You know, they play and they look good against nobody, and then they get killed in big games, minus the Cardinals. Where did that team go? Now all of a sudden we beating Eagles? Like I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, I don't like the Cowboys sharing the record with the Eagles either.
Yeah, that's kind of
disturbing.
Not good. Yeah.
Oh, props. We have to give some props though. Dak Prescott did really good. Yeah, we do. We do. Dak Prescott did really good. 24 out of 39, 270 yards, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, along with a really good rushing game from Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle. That's what you say, right? Dowdle. Number one receiver by just 1 extra yard is Jake Ferguson. 5 receptions. Jack Ferguson. 5 receptions for 72 yards. And then number 2 is CeeDee Lamb for 6 for 71. And 1 touchdown. You know, CeeDee Lamb should be the number 1. Number 1 receiver for this game. Just because he doesn't have 1 yard, but he got a touchdown. He should be number 1. My point, Jalen Hurts was not on his game today. and that's okay. You've been playing. He's been playing great all season. He can have a game where he's not good.
I mean, yeah,
Do I
but you
wish it was
couldn't
a
have
game
chose.
against the Cowboys?
Thank
No.
you.
Do I wish it was a Cowboys game? No. But
Do it against the Giants, so that way Chooch can like not be sad the whole year.
I don't even think Jalen Hurts would have to play bad. Tommy DeVito is a beast, which we're going to
That's
talk
true.
about. We're going to talk about last game. That's our last game. DeAndre Swift did not see as many. Did not. We didn't see as much of him as we've been seeing all season. Getting only 11 carries for 39 yards, and then Kenneth Gainwell getting for 38 for 28 yards.
Yeah, we talked about this last week too. Like the Eagles and not running the ball against teams that I don't know if they're afraid of. I don't know if the thought process is like, oh wow, they actually have a decent record. Like run the ball.
Can I also point out there were 4 receivings for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Four players. You got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard, and Olamide Zykus. Zacchaeus. I don't know. I'm sorry, but you have Eagles 4 to Dallas's 8. It's not going to work out. Why do you only have
Usually
4
no.
people getting thrown the ball? Like
Yeah, I can't answer that one.
not even DeAndre Swift getting like a wheel route or anything like that. That's weird. Like that's really weird coming from a 10 and used to be 10-2 team. Like it's just this game is confusing to see. It sucks to see the Eagles lose because I prefer the Eagles over the Cowboys. Also, while you're looking at the Eagles logo, I didn't
Hmm.
notice this. You know why they're the only team to be facing the other way instead of the right way, like
Why
the
is
right
that?
side? There's an E in the logo.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if you ever noticed that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. This
That's
is gonna
why. Like
be this
the
is gonna be one of
revelation.
them things like you can't unsee now.
It's the same thing with the Falcons. That's an F.
Well, yeah, I mean that one's
That
obvious.
one's obvious, but this one took a while for me to notice. I never noticed
Dude, I've never noticed that. That's freaky.
that. But yeah,
That's
this
freaky. No, no, I'm tripping. Okay.
uh can we also talk about how there were 3 fumbles in this game from the Eagles?
Yeah, I
3
mean,
fumbles.
in a game like this, and I swear it's like said before every big game specifically, the team that does the little things wins these games, and that team this
Was
game
the
was
Cowboys.
Dallas.
Hmm. Was definitely Dallas. And uh, all of them got recovered actually
Right?
out of all the fumbles. Dak
Except
Prescott
for the
fumbled
Jalen
once.
Carter one on the other side.
Yeah. Oh my god. Uh, it's just sad to see. Going to last game, not last game, second
Second to
last
last.
game. Yeah, it was both Monday night football games, 2 Monday night football games. Titans upset the Dolphins 28-27. I did not see this coming. With how the Dolphins have been, sort of beating down mediocre teams, I
Right.
did not see this coming from the Dolphins losing. I get it; it's 1 point, and it's not like the end of the world for the Dolphins. It's not like they're, a bad team now, but just props to the Titans. Will Levis doing all he can to make this team win and finally getting a win.
Yeah,
Uh,
finally.
yeah, 23 for 38, 327 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Tua had no touchdowns or picks, but
Yeah.
Tua went 23 for 33, 240 yards. Uh, Big thing for the for Miami though was the rushing game with Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane. Even though Devon Achane only got 7 carries, Raheem Mostert got 21 carries for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Also, O-line for Miami. You let a guy who literally we didn't know if he was coming back because of his injuries get sacked 5 times.
His
5.
his brain was already perceived to be scrambled eggs, and now
And-
you're making it like hard boiled. Now
And he got
it turned
hit
hard boiled.
7 times.
Yeah, he got hit 7.
Like,
It's
are you trying to kill him?
it's actually no. He got QB hits does not count as sacks.
Well, I know, but still, you get hit 7 times.
Yeah, plus on top of the 5 sacks.
Yep.
Will Levis also got sacked once, but then got hit 8 times.
And Harold Landry, bro, 3 sacks. Like, what a night.
Yeah, he was having a field day out there. Also got 5 total tackles,
Yeah.
which yeah, but also got 5 QB hits.
Poor Tua.
Bro, did Tua hurt Harold or something? Did Tua hurt Harold
Did
Landry or
Tua,
something?
like, in high
Make
school,
fun of
did they
him?
have, like, a girlfriend?
Like together?
Yeah.
What was fun though?
You
So
want to kill him.
bro, he was like dead last year. He was dead last year, and you're letting this happen to him already. But we got to see a lot out of this Titans offense that we usually don't see. Derrick Henry for the past couple of weeks, we got to see a couple times. Really good. Got 17 carries for 34 yards. Not that many, but got 2 touchdowns. We also got to see Tyjae Spears out there for 7 carries. But DeAndre Hopkins is not dying in Tennessee this game, baby. Getting 7 receptions for 124 yards and 1 touchdown. Man, to see DeAndre Hopkins with a name like that. By the way, the biggest hands in the NFL right now. He literally has the biggest hands ever in the NFL.
Do you just, like, search up random
facts about maybe
who took the biggest shit in the NFL? You got everything else, like
the Cowboys when they face the 49ers.
I mean, shit, why not?
But yeah, from this season, always seeing DeAndre Hopkins at the bottom of this receiving stat, and then being in the top, not by a short either, by a lot.
Big.
Yeah, second place is Tyjae Spears, which is a running back. I don't know why you're throwing to the running back so much. Getting 6 receptions for 89 yards, and this game was just so entertaining to see as a Tennessee Titans offensive guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Plus to see Will Levis's like admiration pay off. We've been seeing how hard he's been playing, like how much he wills this team to win. Even like he's like willing, like getting a rope, tying around the whole team, and just dragging them.
I got you guys.
Dragging them to the bus to go to Miami. This is a really fun game to see.
Script writers say we're winning today, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, and Tyreek Hill actually got hurt for a little bit. It was confusing. So we seen Tyreek Hill on the ground. He was in pain, and then he got up and then started running to the like he was hurt for a little bit, then got up and then like started walking and then like sort of jogging to the sideline.
Right.
Kind of confusing. When I first saw him, I was like, oh crap, is he not gonna break what he wanted to break? He's really close to 2,000. We still could see it. It's not impossible yet. And then him going down, I hope he's fine. It'd be weird if he was like playing some weird joke on us.
He's like, I'm saving it for the playoffs. Joke's on you.
Yeah, I'm gonna break 2,000 in the playoffs. No. Yeah, overall, really impressive game. It's funny. Now we're going to our last game here. It's funny to see two Monday Night Football games, first time in the season, right?
Right.
And both be upsets because the Giants just beat the winning streak Packers 24-22. Man, Tommy DeVito, most Italian man I've ever seen in my entire life.
What?
Do you not see all these videos of people joking about him?
I
Did
know,
you
but it's just so random.
have you seen his agent? Did you see his agent in the game?
Doesn't yeah, because doesn't he look like the mobster?
He looks like a mobster, dude.
Uh,
But I like seeing this Giants team come around. They were literally horrible. Like one of the worst, like
Torres.
literally Caleb Williams tier type play from the Giants. And now they're 5-8, which, I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but the fact that there's a chance,
So you're
the fact
saying
that
there's a chance.
there's a shot, especially with this Italian man.
Would you stop with the Italian?
I
It's
can't.
getting
I can't.
creepy now.
This Italian man.
Take your shirt off, Mr. Italian man. Like what type of what are we doing here?
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna talk about the game now.
Sure.
Tommy DeVito getting 17 for 21 out of 158 yards and one touchdown. Not the best, not the most amount of yards I've seen from a quarterback for Tommy DeVito. Then Jordan Love getting 25 out of 39 for 218 yards, one touchdown, one interception. And then this team was heavily ran by, I feel like Tommy DeVito got 10 carries for 71 yards. That's their quarterback. This ain't Lamar Jackson. And then Saquon Barkley finally got a lot more love, getting 20 carries for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, Giants to the Super Bowl?
Yes, Giants to the Super Bowl. They beat the Packers. They punched their ticket. But on a serious note, though, congrats to the Giants, and I'm happy again. Hey, they're starting to look like a football team. Took them 14 weeks, but hey, they're here now.
They're finally, they're finally getting it. Number one receiver for the Giants as well, Wandale Robinson, getting 6 receptions.
Kentucky boy.
Rondale getting 6 receptions for 79 yards. And then Isaiah Hodgins getting 2 receptions for 22 and 1 touchdown. Overall, really good game from both sides of the ball. And the Packers ended up getting the last drive in the game. Yeah. Tom, wow.
Bro, what?
RG3 says Tommy DeVito is the best thing that ever happened to Daniel Jones.
That's just so random.
What a
leave it to RG3.
What a legend. What a legend. But yeah, that will conclude it for week 14 of the NFL. And time to go to our fantasies, good, bad, and mez. You all know how this works. Me and Cole, we're going to look through football players for fantasy, see how well they did in terms of fantasy points, how good they did during the game, and then rank them from good, bad, and meh. Cole, why don't you start us off?
Yes, sir. So my good, I'm starting off. I know there are better options, but I wanted to do this because he did it. I mean, yes. Isaiah Likely from Baltimore, 83 receiving yards, 1 receiving TD,
That's my
5
guy.
receptions. I know. I know. You didn't play him, so I thought I could use them. but no, just finally, he's starting to see the light, starting to come together a little bit. People were getting worried because of his lack of production. Well, he's finally seems to be putting the pieces together, and I am very happy to see that. All right. As for my bad, I'm going to say meh for last just because today I'm feeling like a psycho. Why not? Screw it. All right. So,
Man, what a rebel.
I know, right? Just how do people even talk to me? I'm just so bad. All right.
So
My bad. Quit killing my vibe, man. You're killing it. You just take a knife and just zinc.
that's not
All
okay.
right.
That's not what sound knives make. Zinc. You mean the periodic element? Okay, the periodic table element.
Bro really went like third grade science here. Come
Third.
on. Yeah, come
What
on.
third grade class are you taking where you were learning the periodic table?
Oh no, what have we devolved into this week? Oh
Go. All right.
man.
Go to the rest of
All
your.
right. All right. So my bad is we're going to Chicago and we're talking about Khalil Herbert. Point 80. They gave him 8 yards rushing. Yeah, I'm just silence
Wow.
because I'm that disappointed. I'm just really. I mean,
You're a
Chicago.
sad boy.
I am. I'm really sad. He's got potential to be like the dude in 8 yards. Eight. I just wow. All right, so then on to my meh, and I was saving this for last because I honestly just kind of did it just to be different, and well, let's see if it pays off. All right, I'm gonna go with Jacoby Myers. He had 5 points. He had 5 receptions for 25 yards. Now you might be thinking to yourself, why would this be meh? Why wouldn't this be bad? I'll tell you why. Raiders, why did you have the worst game to just not pick to throw to him more? I don't get it. I see that's why it's not bad. This isn't on Jacoby Myers. This is on the team. I just what happened? I need to know. Somebody tell me. Type it in the comments. How did we get here? And those are my good, bad, and mess. How about you, Mr. Jacob?
So I'm gonna start off with bad and go up to good. Actually, I'm gonna go
Oh,
good,
okay.
bad, and I'm gonna
Being a
go.
rebel,
I'm gonna
rebel
go
podcast.
bad, meh, and good. I'm such a rebel, dude. My bad is going to be Stephon Diggs
Ooh.
getting 4.40 points. Why am I starting you? Why? Like I won my game by a lot, but that's embarrassing. Yeah, 4.40 points, getting 4 receptions, 24 yards, 11 targets. That's pitiful.
Pitiful.
Um, and then my meh's gonna be Jake Ferguson, getting 9.70. Um, really, you were the number one receiver for this game when they scored 80 points, and you're not breaking 10. I know you're close, and it basically is 10, but not breaking it at all. And then my number one, by the way, I had 3 guys that had 17 points or more.
Pretty good.
Actually, no, 1, 2, 3. Uh, I had four. I had 4 guys that broke 17. I'm putting Odell Beckham Jr. We both did. We both did Ravens
Ravens.
wide receivers. Yep. I'm doing Odell Beckham Jr. though.
Oh.
Shut up. 17.70 points for Odell for
There you go,
OBJ,
Bell.
baby. Man, I'm so happy that he's finally getting back, finally getting those numbers back up to being able to praise him. So and now we are going to go to our last segment for the show, our MVP votes. So the way I'm going to do it, I don't know how Cole's going to do it. I basically chose 3 people who are my candidates who I think should win MVP. And no, Patrick Mahomes is not on there. I have him as the Crybaby Award, but not MVP.
Oh no, it don't. There's KC fans. They're coming. You can hear them.
Dude. Fight me. I do not care.
You
He is
starting
a
this one off?
crybaby, and you know it. Do you? All right. Who do you want to start off? You
I
choose.
don't care.
All right. I'm gonna go off.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go from third to first.
Okay.
Third place, I have Brock Purdy.
Like it.
Yes, he deserves to be an MVP, and in the race at least. He's first in QBR. He only has 7 interceptions to 25 touchdowns. Has the third most yards in the league. How how is everyone still saying that he is a system quarterback? In
Yeah,
fantasy football, he's
I don't know.
fifth. He's the fifth ranked position, fifth position ranked in fantasy football. 93.3. I know fantasy doesn't care, but it's just some random stats I can throw at you to prove that he should be in the MVP competition. It's just there are a bunch of people even acknowledging that Purdy is getting way too much slander and that what does this guy have to do? He is doing what he should do. He is literally Mr. Irrelevant, the last guy in the draft for 2022, and he's putting on a show, literally and figuratively. And then in second place, I got CMC. Easily the best running back this year, getting 226 carries, which is the second, and then the first in yards with 1,177. And then tied for second for running backs with 12, and then has the 72nd average with 5.2. How can you deny that this guy should even be in the MVP? I know that MVPs are quarterback awards, basically,
Right.
but this guy is one of the most valuable players, not just for the 49ers, but in football to watch. I don't think it'll be long before little kids that want to be football players will be wanting to, like, aspiring to be like Christian McCaffrey.
That's
And
fair.
and then in my number one place, I know it's kind of biased, but watching him this year brings such love and happiness to my heart. Mr. Lamar Jackson, Mr. Big Trust. Um, not as high as stats as the other two that I've mentioned, but when you watch this guy play, oh, it is fun to watch. Even Cole was saying, agreeing with me earlier,
Yeah.
that it is so fun to watch this guy be comfortable in the pocket, escaping sacks from Aaron Donald of all people. Like that's one of the most impressive to me. He does have the Ravens team does have the a tough schedule ahead of them on Christmas Day, going to face the 49ers. That's probably going to be game of the year in my opinion. That's going to be my
Two best teams playing each other for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, literally 1 and 2. Depends, ask anybody who 1 or 2 is. They are the two best teams in the NFL currently. 16 touchdowns for 6 interceptions, but his rushing stats, if I can find them, 2023 passing. Rushing. Where are his rushing stats? See, this is why no one finds Lamar. Okay, 2023 rushing. He has 644 yards, 5 touchdowns on the ground, and 40 first downs. So, yeah, and by the way, not I know he doesn't have as many touchdowns as 2019. I don't think he'll ever surpass his 2019 season, but this is the most accurate he's been in ever since 2019.
Right.
And he's getting close to breaking his his passing yards for 2019 too.
Okay, so yeah.
Any
This
questions
is
for me before?
well, um yeah, I guess that's a fair question. So what made you put these players in the order they are? I mean, like Brock Purdy, sure. I mean, I guess you could say three because he's been so undervalued. But
Mhm.
the 2 and 1, like I mean, they're pretty good. My question is, what made you put Lamar Jackson over CMC?
Lamar Jackson over CMC. I just think that you know, I don't really know. if I'm gonna be completely honest.
Could
But
it
trying to
be
come
being a
trying to
Ravens
come up with an
fan?
answer. Um, this is what TJ. Which one was the wait? Which one was the
What?
Steelers? Watt? Which one was the Steelers?
TJ
Watt
Watt.
brother? TJ. It was JJ Watt then. The Texans defensive end.
Okay.
The Texans defensive end said that when this is interviewer brought up that when people were saying that he was robbed of the MVP when he had that phenomenal season, he said that the reason why quarterbacks are voted MVP basically every year is that quarterbacks are the most valuable position on an NFL football team, right? You
Right.
can't win games with just a good running back. You know, like if you have a really poor running back and a really good quarterback, like no, a really good running back and but a really poor quarterback, chances are you're not going to win many games
Right.
because so much relies on that quarterback. So that's why I have him being number two. I could switch CMC and Brock Purdy like that. Like I just put those together.
Right.
Like I could easily switch them around, and my answer would be the same. So
So,
that's how I see it.
now it's my turn.
Yep.
All right, so you're gonna laugh, and anyone who watches the college shows, well,
Bryce Young.
he even does this to me in NFL shows apparently. So we have the same list.
What?
However, yeah, literally, we have the same list. However, it's a little there's the placement's a little different.
Okay.
Brock Purdy's still 3, but Lamar's 2 and CMC's 1. I
I like
kid
it.
you not. That was my list.
You know, you did this to yourself. I hope you know, because you were.
I
I asked you. I was like, all right, who do you want to go first?" And go, you go ahead. I go, okay.
I did. You got me. Guilty is charged. Um, I just thought we'd keep it. I went first in fantasy, then you go first, and I didn't think you'd have my whole list, but you did. Go figure. Um,
Ugh.
but my reasoning is this: Brock Purdy has been. I'll go player by player here, so I'll start with Purdy. Purdy, he's been doubted. He's been disrespected all year. He's been, even, in the offseason, it was still very much a question. Brock Purdy, was he just a flash in the pan? Was he still this good? What is the deal with Brock Purdy? And then he did good, and people were like, "Oh no, he's just a product of the system. He's not that good. You put him in any other thing." And it's like, okay, at the beginning, sure, you could think that. Okay, that's fine. But then he again shut up the haters, and he did it again. And this time it was against the Eagles. The
The
Eagles are a top 5 team.
yeah,
And
Eagles and the Cowboys. I want to
yeah,
mention too.
and the Cowboys. And it's like, what are we missing here about this guy? When will he finally get respect? What does he have to do to get to that level to where people hear the name Brock Purdy and no longer do they go, oh, it's just because of Shanahan? Because I beg this question. Since apparently he's, a system quarterback and he's not that good and whatever else, he wouldn't be good anywhere else. Why is Jimmy G not that great of a quarterback? Because apparently you could plug in anybody to that system and they're great. How come Sam Darnold's not great? Why isn't he the starter? Why'd you get rid of Trey Lance? If this system is so good and you could place anybody, why aren't they playing? And I think the answer eventually hits him in the face and goes, "Oh, he is that good. He can make these throws. He can do anything there because Jimmy G sucks outside of San Francisco. Trey Lance hasn't been given a shot anywhere, which is a travesty, but it is what it is. And Sam Darnold, I mean, he's not very good anywhere, but you say you can plug and play, it doesn't matter. So he should be good. He should be putting up same numbers, and he's not. And he hasn't been given the chance, sure, but if he was, I guarantee you it would not be the same as Brock Purdy.
Yeah. That's what I say too, is
Right.
with like everything that comes out about like, oh, he just has some quarterback. I go, but the throws that he throws are like unbelievably like in the palm of like they don't even have the receivers don't even have to move. It's just they're running and then it just drops down into their hands like almost perfectly. I go, yeah, that's a system quarterback for you where they'll just like a system quarterback to me is one that will underthrow the ball really far and the receiver will have to like turn around, go all the way back, and then still catch the ball, and that's a system quarterback to me. But it's obvious that Brock Purdy is not a system quarterback, and
Right.
by any means far.
And to me, like a system quarterback, since the definition has changed between the times that me and Jacob have watched, because I've been watching for a lot longer than Jacob. To me, a system quarterback, I always kind of think AJ McCarron because him at Alabama, because that's what he was. He was a game manager. He was a system guy, and he pretty much looked good because he handed the ball off. He had weapons that he could throw to. I mean, that to me, that's a system, and he threw screens majority of the time. It
Hmm.
seemed that. So, anyways, back to this. Lamar Jackson is next. And the reason for Lamar, I mean, it kind of coincides with what Jacob was saying. Like, he is electric. He is just fun to watch. It doesn't matter if you run QB contain, he'll throw. If you, forget to spy him or have a contain on him, he's taking off and he's burning you with his feet. He's Him and Jaden Daniels play a lot of similar football, in my opinion.
I see
But
that.
again, we'll get back to this strictly. But um, it's kind of like watching one of them. You're watching both of them because they're just so similar. They're both so quick. They could both really throw, um, and they make everyone around them better. Like again, complete vice versa of a system quarterback here. Because with systems, you need guys who make the quarterback better. Here, Lamar makes everybody else better. He makes his run game better because they fear the pass. He makes his wide receivers better because he's pinpoint accurate now. He was a little wild when he first got there, but now he's settled in and he's looked a lot better now, and he's reaching that level of an elite quarterback, and he's there. Um, so then, and he just seems like a good guy. Like a team first player. I know it sounds kind of silly, but
Yeah, yeah,
when you
yeah.
think about somebody in that role, you have to have a guy who's all in about the team. Hey, how can I improve? Like Jacob was saying with JJ McCarthy earlier, like how can I, make this player feel special? Hey, he had a really good game. Focus on him. It's not all me. I'm not the team. I mean, I think that's what we get in Lamar Jackson. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot, but from what I have seen, I mean, that's just how he seems, and you
Hmm.
need that. And then last but not least, actually the top of the list here, Christian McCaffrey. I need anybody, and I'm not saying like Jacob, obviously, because he put him at 2, but I'm saying anybody who leaves him off the list or keeps him at 4 or 5, this is directed to you. How? How can you do that? I mean, this guy, say what you will, he's a great receiving back. He's a great running back. He can do both. He's very quick. He's very elusive. He was tremendous at Stanford. He's been tremendous his whole NFL career, and he got taken down because of the Panthers being such. Well, y'all know how the Panthers are. I'm not going to get into that. But now he gets to be utilized at a team where he does not have to be the full vocal point. I mean, he is allowed to be a threat and nothing more. Teams can't just anymore zero in and go, hey, Christian McCaffrey, if we can shut down Christian McCaffrey, we win the game. No, because now you got Debo Samuel. Now you got Brandon Ayuk. Now you got Purdy. There's so many guys out there now that help that. And I know some people look at that as a negative. Me personally, at the running back position, if you say that's a negative, then you're saying Derrick Henry's a negative too. Because he, for the longest time, was the only breath in Tennessee. Don't forget that.
Mhm.
Um, so to me, it's pretty obvious. He changes a game. He's electric. To me, he's the best player in the NFL, and it's not even close. I mean, like Lamar's there, but then you got like a huge mountain from Lamar to Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
mean, it's to me, it's no contest, and he should be given the award, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, sadly, it won't happen because, like what I said earlier, we both said earlier that it's a quarterback award.
QB only,
Yeah, that is unfortunately how it is. But the way I see it, I like how we both have Lamar on there. We both made good points about Lamar and every team. And the funny thing is too, these are the number one, number two. Like these are the two teams, and they're
Right.
actually number one on both sides of on both their divisions. They're the number one seed right now. Now, I'm making a prediction right here for the Super Bowl.
All
It
right.
will be Super Bowl 20. Was it 2012 or 2013 rematch with
2013, I think.
2013 rematch with the Ravens and 49ers. That's my Super Bowl prediction.
I think you might be onto something because, I mean, honestly, there's not, I know people might say Eagles or Cowboys, but honestly, these two teams are the best, and it's not really close to me.
Mm-hmm. Plus, it showed the NFL. The logo for the Super Bowl is purple and red, so that's how we know too.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think I have any questions for you. Other, no, I don't
I
have
was
any.
gonna say, if you do, ask away.
But yeah, no, that is all I have to say.
All right.
But that'll be it for this episode of the JCP End Zone Perspective podcast. I hope you guys had a wonderful time listening to our beautiful voices. I hope you guys enjoy tomorrow's Thursday night football game, whatever game that is. I'm not gonna look right
Vegas
now.
and who is it? It's Vegas and LA
Vegas and
Chargers.
LA.
Oh, good God, they're killing me. No.
No.
Oh no.
All right. I hope you guys watch Sunday night football
Yeah,
then.
let's change that here. Watch the bowl games on
Yeah.
Saturday.
Watch the bowl games. Other than that, I hope you guys have a beautiful week and a weekend. This is Jay from JCP, and we're out.
God bless y'all.